So after August 31st, the March for Australia protest was a massive success, I'll have you know, even though the mainstream media and politicians made it seem like we're all a bunch of racist bigots. We're all just very hateful Australians, apparently. You see, the government is extremely corrupt and it's all about optics. If they can make themselves look like they're great and in full solidarity against so-called racism, then obviously you're going to have lots of people that have got no brains, like Abby Chatfield and her boyfriend, Adam Hyde, saying that we are really the problem in Australia. We're all immigrants and all that sort of other nonsense. Even though I was born here, apparently I'm still an immigrant, even though I was born here. How about that, right? So, because the March for Australia protest was a massive success, they wanted to try and reclaim the bridge because a few weeks back, the pro Palestinian nut jobs decided to take over Sydney Harbour Bridge. And a judge, a very corrupt judge at that, gave them the opportunity to do it. And they waved terrorist flags on Sydney Harbour Bridge. There was a known terrorist that was there. Also, other known terrorist memorabilia that was there as well. So it was truly showing every single Australian that we have been conquered and we've been taken over by the not only Free Palestinian movement, which is a actual terrorist organization, in my opinion. It should be designated as such because they're quite violent and they're really showing us all that they're not really about the humanitarian stuff. Maybe there's a couple of them that would go, yeah, I really do care about the plight of the Palestinian people in Gaza and like it's war's horrible and I'm sick and tired of this. It needs to stop. Sure, there's a couple of those people, but the vast majority of them, no. It's like virtue signaling to the max. And I think our ending one's life empathy, there's another word, starts with S, but I can't say it on this, otherwise you get censored. That kind of empathy, I think we are going to the nth degree. It's too much, and it's causing the destruction and the decay of actual Australia. And people are fed up. Like, there's got to be, I think we have crossed the line of too much empathy. And now we're starting to see the rot really fester and really start to decay everything that is good in Australia. I mean, so because the protest, the March for Australia on 31st of August was great, was peaceful for the most part, except for the neo-Nazis. And we don't want neo-Nazis here either. We fought a war against Nazism. And hey, again, if any Nazis are watching this, get the hell out of Australia. We don't want you here. Thomas Sowell is from New Zealand. Like, I don't know why we're not deporting him. But anyway, that all being said, they thought, it's time to reclaim the bridge for Australia. It's time for Australians to march across our bridge because that's exactly what it is. It's our bridge, not the Palestinian terrorist bridge. It's Australia's bridge. It is an iconic landmark of Australia, and henceforth you should have Australians marching with Australian flags across the bridge, not terrorism flags. Don't think our veterans fought wars for Australia to come back and see Sydney Harbour Bridge taken over by the likes of pro-Palestinian nut jobs that are supporting terror. Don't think they fought that. And I think a vast majority of them are fed up and actually very tired of this. But you know what? The mainstream media and the government just calls them racist, calls them hateful. They ain't any sort, mate. They ain't any of the sort. So you had a large gathering of people, the mainstream media calls them anti-establishment demonstration, by the group Australia Unites. So they wanted to protest across Sydney Harbour Bridge. And lo and behold, I called it. I'm like, they're going to block this. They're not going to allow Australians, actual Australians, to march across Sydney Harbour Bridge. It's never going to happen. And lots of people, Joel Jamal or whatever his name is, he was saying, oh, they've actually done it. No, they haven't done anything because lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, they had such a weak response. Like, because the police decided to counter-sue or go to the Supreme Court, it freaked the organizers out. And they're going, oh, dear, this is bad. They didn't really have much financial backing either. So engaging lawyers in this kind of instance, the police are going to win. But the pro-Palestinian mob, oh, they had huge support. They had at least some spine and some backbone. And even when the police said they were going to block it, the judge overruled it and allowed it to happen. But the pro-Palestinian mob was going, we're still going to cross anyway. It doesn't matter. But the moment the police and Chris Minns goes, no, nothing's off the table, like that freaked out a vast majority of the Aussies. So therefore, they're going, no, we may as well just work with the police and show that, you know, we're good law-abiding citizens. Okay, so we're going to change the route. We're not going to go across Sydney Harbour Bridge like we intended to do because we lost that appeal. Now we're going to reach an agreement with police and change the route. We're going to go from Milson's Point, and now we're going to start. That was the original route. Now we're going to start at Hyde Park and move through a CBD. So it's all changed, right? It's all flipped. And now the protest is still going to go ahead, just a different place, right? Like it's, to me, it would have been a lot more significant if it had been across Sydney Harbour Bridge. But alas, we live in the times where terrorism is more successful in Australia than actual citizens of Australia that are patriotic for this country. Nah. But anyway, I think what this is going to do is it's going to show everyone that is actually a patriotic Australian the double standard that we've got here in Australia. Like pro-Palestinian dingbats and pro-terrorists can march across our bridge, but we can't. You think that's not going to make people mad? Think again. It's really going to make people mad. So I think come the 13th of September, I think you're going to have a lot more people show up at Hyde Park and go through the Sydney CBD. But, you know, the thing is, once again, you have the mainstream media, you've got the politicians, and unfortunately, because the mainstream media and the politicians, they have lots to say in this regard, they're going to spin it. They're going to say we're all Nazis, we're all hateful racists, we're all this, we're all that, even though we're not. So how crazy is that? Oh, and by the way, just in case you guys didn't know about this, there was another terrorist attack in Israel. Palestinian, 5 people have been murdered. This is 2 terrorists opened fire on a bus in Jerusalem, targeting passengers, bystanders, anyone in reach. 5 have been murdered, over a dozen wounded. The war in Israel fights for all who stand against terror. Brandon Tatum responds by going, the real terrorists keep going after civilians, just like October 7th. Fight the IDF. Why directly go after random people? The IDF isn't hiding behind citizens. We know why. That's why people are under rocks right now. This crap. This is why no other country will take them in. Exactly. The world must see this. Albanese must see this, because a vast majority, you got Starmer, you got Macron, you got Carney, you got Albo. All of them are trying to recognize the Palestinian state, and yet terrorist attacks are going on all over the place. You had pro-terrorism marches marching across our bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge, and the mainstream media wants to label these people as anti-vaxxers, conspiracy theorists, and sovereign citizens will no longer try to march across Sydney Harbour Bridge. So we're apparently the enemy according to the mainstream media. We're apparently the worst, the hateful people. It's backwards, isn't it? And that's why people are fed up. They've had enough. They're really done with this kind of behavior. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of talking about it. I never thought that it would happen in my country. Not Australia, of all places, but it's happening in the UK, it's happening places in America, and now Australia. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't voice our concerns about it, we're screwed. They'll take over, and that'll be that. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.